Today's essay is entitled P Driveway. That's P-E-E, driveway. When I was 7 years old, my mother's sister and her family moved into our neighborhood, less than a quarter mile away, directly down the street. She and my uncle had 3 children, all mirroring my siblings and I in age. As close as we were geographically, we rarely saw them, except when we gathered at our grandmother's house 50 miles or so to the south for Thanksgiving or Christmas or the occasional Easter. 2 Catholic families, each with 3 kids, living in nearly identical 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch houses a stone's throw apart. We were connected by blood and proximity, but rarely in the same room at the same time. I've puzzled about this recently, trying to fathom why we didn't play together or attend each other's birthday parties. Why did the adults never gather us for barbecues, picnics at the lake, or 4th of July festivities soaked in sticky sweet watermelon juice with the fireworks reeking of sulfur? If we squinted and strained to see down the middle of the street, we could nearly make out the glow of one another's snakes and sparklers, Roman candles, or whistling peats, burning and depositing white char on the asphalt. But we lived our childhoods in our own bubbles. My half-Portuguese cousins and we half-Italian siblings joined in the middle by 2 lily-white, very Northern European sisters. In retrospect, I have a suspicion that the uneasy distance between our families may have been my fault. A typical Scorpio, my calm surface hid dark and disruptive currents. I caused parental antennas to quiver ominously. We'd better watch that one, they'd think, perhaps subliminally in the danger centers of their lizard brains, while casting protective glances toward their darling progeny. And they were right. I was a rule breaker from birth, backing out of my mother butt first. There was no boundary I wouldn't test, no clandestine criminal pursuit in which I would not gleefully participate. I was always in the middle of the heist, hiding behind another kid, then melting away to leave some other poor sop holding the bag. Perhaps my creative mind was to blame. Following the sidewalk was a snooze. Dancing down the street, half naked, darting onto other people's lawns while singing "Don't Fence Me In" at the top of my off-key voice, was more my speed. The games I thought up were daring and often outright demented. One such game, which I had occasion to play only once with my cousins before their parents, aghast, firmly shut it down, I dubbed P Driveway. Why was it called P Driveway, you ask? I have absolutely no idea, but in order to get the most out of this game, it took at least 3 kids and a sofa pushed up against the wall. Here's how you play. The first kid would lie along the back of the sofa face down. The next kid would lie on top of the first. The third kid would climb atop the other 2, and so on, until a stack of children were perched in precarious sandwich formation on the back of the sofa. The top kid would roll off, landing hard on the seat cushions below while screaming, "P Driveway!" at the top of his or her lungs, then bounce hastily to the carpet and skitter away so as not to be smashed by the next kid rolling off the pile. Finally, the last player would roll to the floor. And that was it. Game over. I think the sheer joy of using a piece of furniture for a purpose entirely unintended by both its designer and our parents was a glorious act of rebellion, a claiming of our environment on our terms, instead of the terms handed down by the nervous, fun-thwarting adults surrounding us. Although the origins of the battle cry, "P Driveway," is obscured in my memory, its incongruence, its total random absurdity was precisely the point. It had no meaning and no function other than to confound the adults who heard us screaming it like banshees as we disrespected their earsat's colonial furniture. Looking back at my life, I realized that if I'd moved to Portland as soon as I was old enough to hitchhike north, things might have been different for me. I could have embraced my weirdness and found my tribe decades before I finally did. Instead, I stayed put, lurching along to the beat of my own inner drunken drummer, out of sync, out of tune, but somehow remaining alive and upright within the guardrails of my world, and arguably the better for it.